Yeah, but now we're, so instead, we're no longer looking at the discussions under option 1, 2, 3. We've moved on to the consensus questions.
Okay.
And number
Okay.
one question is, should there be a minimum wage set by government? And I think we all agree to that.
I think
That's the biggest one.
Or maybe we should show of hands.
Well, it's not,
Yes.
it's not a
This is
unanimous
federal.
vote or unanimous.
Are we
it's just-
talking federal or
if that's our
state?
feeling.
We did any.
If you look at question number 2, it indicates, I mean, to me it reads, should there be a minimum wage across the country? And then,
Right.
should Idaho align with that federal rate?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and put yes
Yes.
on number 1 and go on to number 2. We can always go back and change any of our responses.
Yeah,
Just for,
I
shall we
disagree.
invite statements of opposition if there are any?
Yes,
Just to make sure we've met this consensus standard, right?
Yeah.
yes, I think
I
the
agree,
opposition,
Nancy.
I would like to hear the opposition if there is any,
Yeah.
or whatever opposition there is.
I'm not opposed to this question, but there are many, many people that think there should be no minimum wage set by government, and that the labor market should set wages.
Our senator is one of those people.
Yeah, there are many, many people like that.
But the question is, are there any in this
I'm
order?
not asking if there are
Absolutely.
arguments in favor
Yeah.
of no minimum, there are
Sure.
arguments in
And
favor
there's
of
people that
it.
think
But the
you
free
should,
market
you
can
know,
help
be able
people
to
to
buy
starve very
wives.
efficiently, you know.
They're not in the room. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
skip
they're not in the
ahead.
room.
Is that our question?
That's next
Carrying on
month.
toward one.
That's next month.
Oh,
Yeah.
pay for that one.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut my own house.
What do people think about Idaho aligning its minimum wage to the federal rate?
Not.
No.
Tom has something to
I have a
say.
quick question.
Yeah.
One way to deal with the minimum wage as far as the government's concerned was the standard that was set right here in Moscow by the mayor prior to Mayor Lambert, who established that to get a government contract, you must be paying your employees minimum wage or better, a certain amount. That was established back when?
Livable wage.
Livable wage,
Yeah.
which extends beyond minimum wage. And I think that's one rule people
That's-
should,
I'm in total agreement with that. If the minimum wage is set by government, should Idaho continue to align its minimum wage rate to the federal rate? What I would say is, as long as it's a livable wage, the federal, if the federal rate is a livable wage, that's fine, but Idaho should set a standard that at least meets the bare minimum for its municipality, where
Or have the right to self-determine.
to,
Yeah.
or have the right to self-determine, because Moscow, we live in a bubble, which is a little bit different. Moscow is a lot more expensive to live in than Troy, for example. Rents are higher, so the living wage in Moscow is much higher, and that's actually one of the things that as employers that we do is we look at what is the bare minimum for the people that work for us so that they don't have to go on Medicare, they don't have to tax and burden social services, so that actually we take the burden on of employing them, not all of you.
Good point. So.
Because somebody pays for it, one way or another.
Yeah.
You have your hand up
A walk down memory lane. When I first had my first paying job, it paid the minimum wage, which at that time was like $1.10 an hour. In 1 week, I made enough to pay my rent, my phone, my electric bill, and heat. So I had 3 weeks worth of work that, for car payment or whatever else.
before. Clothing.
Now, we've reached the point where every survey tells us, including here in Moscow, the average cost of housing and utilities is between 45 and 60%. That is not a living wage. It was 100 years ago. Well, no, it's not that many years ago. A lot of years ago. 1960, okay? 1960 it was. The minimum wage was $1.10 an hour.
And
You
it
could
also
live.
was
You
true
could
that
live on
they-
$1.10 an hour.
they used to say that 1 week's of your salary should pay just for your housing, and now it's more than that. because the
Yeah,
housing
that's
is
right,
so
yeah,
expensive.
now every
So
study
far,
I've seen
people
is
just
between
keep stepping
45
backwards.
and 65% of living on the, attempting to live on the minimum wage.
So going back to our question, number 2, I kind of like the comment that was made that if Idaho minimum, or if the federal government rate is a living wage, then yes, we should align with it.
So are we allowed to put that in? Are we allowed
We
to-
put in
We can
whatever
put
we
in
want,
comments.
whatever
I
it
would,
is.
I would suggest that we include those words into number 2. A living wage. If the federal, if the federal minimum wage is a living wage, then
If,
I
Isn't
look
that
at
going
No,
to
wait a minute, though. I see what you're saying when you say if, because we need to address the issue as we have it here. And the truth is, the federal rate is below a living wage, and I think our only response to that could be, should Idaho continue to align its minimum wage rate to the federal rate? No.
no, because it's not a
No.
living wage.
And then look at question 3, which says if we
Yeah.
don't align
Yeah.
it,
Right.
should we raise it? And then
Yeah.
you could just say yes, so
Oh,
they're
good
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's important, though, that we don't, if there is this movement toward federalism, if states are given the authority to set their own, regardless of.
well, they do, they have that right.
Right, but it needs to
It can't be
meet
below
the-
Oh, I
it
see
can't
what
be
you're saying.
below the federal
Yeah.
minimum.
Unless
There's
you're a
certain
service
exceptions.
worker like a waitress.
Yeah.
And
And
then
so
they
we-
adopt
it-
tip credit.
Yeah, I would
That's
suggest
still
that we put
federal.
some protective language in there that says, look, we don't want Idaho to set something lower than the federal group suggests either, you know.
I just need to remind everybody that these are consensus questions, but we can put as many comments as we want in here, and if they certainly get enough comments from the other leagues that align with ours, then they're probably gonna change the consensus statement, at least hopefully they will.
Yeah.
So feel free to, you know.
Who defines a living wage?
Well,
What is a
That's
living
in
wage?
that, both the MIT and the Alice report.
Okay, so that we're.
Those are a couple of them
Okay,
that we looked at, and they were pretty close.
okay.
It's a matter of semantics. We seem to keep using minimum wage one sentence and then livable wage in another. We should all understand that I don't see any minimum wage in this country that's a livable wage. The two are quite different.
$15.
The $15 an hour in Seattle, I think, is approaching livable.
Not in Seattle.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I know it's,
But
Because the
$11
living there
in
is so
Pullman is a
expensive.
livable wage.
that's, yeah,
It's 1044 in Lehigh County, I mean, in Moscow.
yeah.
And the minimum wage is just barely above poverty level for a single person.
Yep.
It's under the poverty level for a family of
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
So like in Garfield, $11 an hour would be a livable wage. Because of the rent, you know, so
Of course,
Palouse,
you're not, what's the
Based
chance you're
on a
living in,
single
you're
person,
working
that's
in
what-
Garfield?
based on a single person.
Yeah, based on a single person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have the example that Oregon adopted. They have a triple minimum wage, and it's divided geographically, for lack of a better word.
Ah,
So if you're in Portland, Deary,
yeah.
it is this level. If you're in Pendleton, it's this level. If you're in Portland, it's this level. I mean, now granted, it's only been in effect 1 year, and I don't know how it's working, but they dealt with this issue of Garfield versus Pullman versus
But does
Seattle.
that count travel? Because if you're in Garfield and you have to travel around to get where you're going, then.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we have some options that are available. It seems to be working in Oregon. Depending upon where you are geographically, they base it on population. It's kind of a formula as to what the minimum wage is in Pendleton versus Salem versus whatever.
And it's
What-
based on where you live, not where you work, right? Or where you work, but not where you live.
Yeah. I'm not sure of all the
Because that makes
courts,
a
but I
difference.
just know it seems to be working, and they have a triple minimum wage.
So I
Must be
think,
where
can
you
we
work,
agree
yeah.
that Idaho
That
should
makes
raise
sense.
its minimum wage rate and then go on to the next?
I first would like to address Dick's concern about minimum wage and living wage. What the idea is here to get a minimum wage to a living wage level. So that's what, kind of why they're being interchanged in conversation.
But the term living wage isn't mentioned anywhere on this page.
No.
No,
Right, but maybe the position of the league should be that the minimum wage should be pegged to a living wage.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I'm saying.
I mean,
That's
I
missing.
think that
Well, I think
most of
that
us
could
here
be-
would agree that the government's job really is to set the floor. Nobody's gonna get rich off of a living wage.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, at some point, I don't care if you're on the left or on the right, if you come into our restaurant and you buy a steak for $24 because we didn't charge you 28, but our employees go and tax the system and burden the system by using social services, you're still paying for that. The difference is instead of you not paying for your steak, everybody else shared in the cost of that. And you know, at some point, we have to wrap our minds around the fact that not money's getting spent, it's just who's gonna pay for it.
Well, and I think we could address that in number 4, where it says, should the state minimum wage be automatically linked to some objective measure? And, well, here they give the example of consumer price index, but we could just insert in there whatever index that's defining a livable wage, maybe from one of these entities that generated this chart. I'm thinking, you know.
Because the consumer price index goes up and down, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
and it depends upon whether you're talking about the one for senior citizens, or whether you're talking about the general one. I mean, there's about 3 different CPIs.
yeah, because the one that increases social security is like, doesn't count healthcare costs.
Yeah.
Which is
Putting
Very interesting.
really debilitating for people. Yeah.
See, so it sounds like we're struggling with the meaning of that sentence, but what I'm picking up here is that the gist of the consensus response among our group is no, that Idaho ought not align its minimum wage to the federal rate, that we expect something more.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, I guess my hesitancy on that is while I agree with your statement, if that comes out of Boise with some of the legislation, to me that means, yeah, let's go lower.
Yeah, I know.
And so I worry about that, saying, oh, yay, they don't want to align, but it's great, we'll pay people $4 an hour.
Oh, I agree with
So,
you. That
you
was
know,
the point I
so-
tried to make earlier, that
Right.
I wanted to put that caveat in there, for sure.
So is the
States cannot
consensus that
currently
we
do that.
would say no to question number 2?
Yeah.
Does anybody disagree with that?